one will many people will consider that an encounter with mermaids is something, would I say negative? Not very auspicious, as inhabitants of the watery depths are not considered, let me put it in quotes, high enough. And people would think that they verge towards the evil side of life. Many would love to hear encounters with angels, but you rather document great adventures with mermaids, Oshali, Shesh, and Oshi, who give you much knowledge about the honest of life. I remember years before I met you and the new presentation, I had a night of wonderful encounter with the mermaids. The waters in a very cozy environment. They were talking. I can't remember what was said at all. So this beautiful half fish, half women were very rollicking in their movements. And there I was listening or doing what, but I had that kind of feeling. When I got up, I wondered how came I was having encounters with mermaids instead of being in the, let me say, in the higher worlds, So I looked at it as something very, very untoward for me. And I thought that was just an aberration. Maybe I met some kind of negative forces. Why did I visit that area particularly to be with the mermaids? I can't tell. And I didn't consider it of any moment at all. So, well, in the journey through life, one can have those kind of encounters. So, Duane, what can you say about this controversy? Would I say is a controversy or what? That the mermaids, the inhabitants of the watery depths, will teach you things, and you relate to the public, and the public has its own idea about mermaids. So, what do you say about this?
All right, somebody has to mute here. Okay, go ahead and mute, Charles. Yeah. That's the fun part of my life. Again, for me coming into this life with Paul and everything that's taken place, and mainly with the Rebazar and the Real Guides, this is all a setup. And so, as you come into each new lifetime, you have to, again, you have to prepare the vehicle, this vehicle and the vehicles. You're preparing for a new situation instead of just bringing the old situations in. Prior to this life, I was an Indian, etc. So that ain't going to work this lifetime. Yes, I have a reference to it, but being an Indian this lifetime, it's not going to work. So the body and the idea here in the physical sense has to be prepared again over and over again. So these things Rebazar brought in. He was the instructor. He was the guide. He's the guide that oversees all this, because this is just how it is. He's went on before me and others, etc. And he did Paul first, and Paul was very aware. And brought it in. Paul brought what he brought in, and then, they're taking care of the real side. Okay, so Paul, when he left, he was poisoned, but it was time to go, and so he could take care of the real side for what I'm doing here, and so supporting that, and a whole lot more. But he brought in these aspects, and he brought in my girlfriend when I was married. He brought in her because, again, it was all part of my experience here. He brought all these things in. I watch the steps. I look at the steps, and he brings certain people in, certain seers and certain individuals, etc. He brings them in, and just like Val and Kelsey are here. These people were chosen. They were given the opportunity. Others do, and they've come and gone. And so, because of my focus, because I can see this, and others can't. They're struggling to do it, and I'm doing the best I can to show them. But, they're bringing people in. People are given the opportunity. And the mermaids are the same. Ursula and her sisters, mainly Ursula. And what's so cool about the mermaids and the mer people, whatever you want to call them, is that they live in a natural environment and they care about the environment. That's their first focus. And just like the animals, see, they're conscious beings like we are in the idea of being conscious like humans. They're conscious beings, and they really care about their environment, where the people on the surface world here really don't care. They do what they can to survive, but for the most part, they don't care. But these individuals, and this is what Rebazar is bringing in to introduce me to all these people this lifetime again, which I've known them before, but to reintroduce them again, to bring this out and the adventures. And when I was writing about this and having these experiences, and then, it was fun, but at a certain point I realized that, oh, gee, as the world sees what I'm writing here, what are they going to think? That hit me too. It's like, okay, well, I'll just take the risk, see what's going on, and deal with it, And really, for the most part, I really had no negatives, especially about the mermaids, and even about myself being married and having a girlfriend at the same time, going on all these adventures. Really, no negatives about that. I was really surprised. People can pick on that right and left, especially the religious people, but for the most part, they don't touch it. But this is what I've come through. And the end result is, again, I'm sharing my experiences. It's not really about me. This is the part that I like. I've reversed the roles here because I put life in front of me. In other words, it's like I stand, with life. I stand with life, but at the same time, I see life is bigger than me, where the master is like Harry on stage. Oh, he's bigger than life itself. He's the master. He knows everything. Everybody looks to him. So everybody's secondary to themselves, to him, and everybody that controls them. But I don't do that. I put everybody out in front of me. Everybody that comes along, like Ava or Val and Kelsey, I say, I'm going to make you the star. You're the star. I'm just going to be in the background, just kind of managing the situations for you to have the experience so that you succeed with this, see? So I've reversed the roles. And so getting back to the mermaid thing, these individuals are so unique. That's why Rebazar brought them in, because they don't do battles. They don't have standing armies. They're really very bothered, and they're out there, but they don't show themselves simply because they don't trust the humans. It's just like animals. Most animals run from people. Why? Because they don't trust them. There are many wonderful people in the world, and they have birds come up to them and they feed them, but they won't do that for everybody because they don't trust everybody. They have their own senses, and for the most part, they don't. Animals that have been domesticated, like cats and dogs and whatever, and certain birds and then certain animals, they will come up to humans because, again, they're familiar with it. But at the same time, most animals don't trust the humans. And how can you? How can you trust people that constantly pollute the air, do strange things, and are ready to destroy anything they don't like? And so the mer people or the mermaid people, the mermaids, etc., they're unique individuals. Their focus is always on the natural environment, and they don't like what's going on here, and the dolphins and everything else. I know the dolphins too. The thing is, they know me, and they don't like it because they're being destroyed. Why? They're here to have their experience. They have a right to have their experience, and they have a right not to be interfered with. They have rights too. Yes, and who respects those rights? And for the most part, humans don't. They don't care. And most people are under the supervision of the destructive controllers of the world. And they think it's really cool, you know, like the different aspects of the military, which can be the Navy or whatever, and they've got sonar going, and you know, this destroys the sonar and beaches the whales and other things and interrupts everything, the ecology of the world. They're constantly interrupting everything, and it all leads to destruction, poisoning everything, Fukushima, etc. And so, yes, for those people that have the heart to see it, that will step up and try and do something real while they're here in this world, this is the whole idea. Take the risk, you know, to get out of yourself and see what's going on. But these people, they care about the natural environment, and it's more than obvious that the people on the surface, I don't care what they say and what they create, Greenpeace, whatever, they don't care. You know, you got Greenpeace and Jacques Cousteau out there. They got these big polluting boats. How many acres and, you know, thousands of square miles of oil and gasoline have they left on the ocean when they say they care about the environment? They don't care. Otherwise, they'd use solar or whatever. Everybody's using petroleum still. We should at least have water in our vehicles. Again, who really cares? Who has the courage to step up and say it? And anybody that does, they want to get rid of you. Well, you take that risk. You want to live in a world where it's constantly poisoning and watching your family and friends and everything die? Well, it's doing it. And have fun watching, because most people are watching. They don't get it. And they're celebrating. They're doing their annual celebrations. And here we got, you know, knucklehead 4th of July coming again, and it's just going to be a lot of noise, drinking, and poison all over the air in Huntington Beach, etc. You know, people are going to celebrate, all right, etc. This is the world. So again, the mermaids that you talk about, yeah, it's awesome. You've had experience. And yes, at first it's scary. You think, oh, gee, these are creatures like outer space people. But no, just like the fish in the sea and the birds and the trees, you know, they care about their environment. And this is their focus every day. 100%, that's their focus. And what is the focus of the surface people? Yeah, what is their focus? Basically, to see what kind of mess they can make. Yeah, and it's constant maintenance with what they're doing. There's many ways to have a society and for things to be workable. There's many ways, but the way that we're in right now, it's not working. None of it's working. Who's going to stand up and do something? We're trying to do our little bitty event at OCC, and it's such a hassle, you know, just to bring something wonderful in. And we're questioned, we're investigated. You know, it's ridiculous. But this is how things are set up. Yeah, it's a risk taker. It's a risk taker position. Who will do it? Who will step up? Have the courage to do it? Get out of your personal self. But the mermaids are awesome because they care more than you can realize. So this is, Revizar brought all this in. He brings everything in. He brings the people to me, to whatever, like Claudia, who's a great seer. We're doing the galactic thing. He brought all this. I decided the adventure. He brings it in. I decide the adventure. That's where we took the Queen of Orion out. She's out. She's no longer Queen of Orion, head of the reptilians. She's gone. That's very real. But most people won't recognize that or see that. And so that's the Orion. The Orions had huge, it all came from them, this planet. This is one of their seed planets where Enki came down here and created the gods, and these are the ancient astronauts that people are trying to discover and think they know something about. Well, fine, whatever. It's already taken place. Right now is survival. Right today, this very moment, this nowness. So history is interesting. You can collect all the history you want, but it's right now. And the mermaids out there, and they're coming up on shore dying too. Because again, they're suffering. They have to deal with all the poisons in the world, the sonar, the HARP, the birds falling out of the sky, etc. They're all affected. And, you know, the elites know they're there. Yeah, they do. And they'll cage them like anything else. They'll put them in cages. That's what they do, and making them circus events, entertainment for people. Yeah, this is how this world is. You know, each one of us decide our adventure, so this is an opportunity to have the courage to be real and sincere. Yes, Charles, go ahead. Good for you. You had some experiences there. Yes.